Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody.
All right. Welcome to On Time Sports Talk. I am the original, obviously, because I have the experience. And next to me is my son, or better known as the remix.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Hey, it's catching up. I don't. This ain't just.
yeah,
There's gray up in this beard now.
well, there you go.
It's all,
That happens when you get old.
it's all those
So,
damn children I taught for the last 10 years. That's what it was.
but yeah, well, these are all the damn children I raised, like you. Um,
I was the best one.
uh, well, that's a show for another day, another debate. The man, the myth. Oh God, um, he's even got the cup. All right, so we got a lot to get to in the next hour or so. Um, we're going to be touching on different subjects, talking about the NBA draft, which I'm sure yourself you will have a lot of comments on because that is in your wheelhouse.
You know it.
We'll talk about my winning pick in the NHL. I called it. But we do have to go back to Mr. Fry and the NBA. He called it. Boston in five called it exactly right on the button. He said he didn't care who came from the West, and so I want to make sure we give him props.
You know
Yeah,
he retweeted. He even made a video and retweeted it. Went back on YouTube, which all y'all can go back. And man, does he want credit for that? I was like, he texted me as soon as they won. Like the first thing was, I called it. Go back and check tape. I was like, Jason, calm down, calm down.
yeah. Well,
But he
if
did
you get
call
it
it. So
right,
give the man.
yeah, he did call it. And then we'll talk a little bit about the Cowboys because there's a little rumbling going on with the head coach. At least it's in the news. And let's see, let me look how many contracts have they done. It's kind of like this tape zero. They haven't got anybody signed yet. The big three are not signed. And then we'll also talk a little bit about the big blockbuster trade of Mr. Bridges and with the New York Knickerbockers, the Knicks. So, okay.
Hold on.
So let's, yes.
You forgot the best segment.
That's right. So did someone kind of ruffle your feathers a little bit,
They
or they
didn't
got
ruffle
their
my
feathers
feathers.
ruffled?
They got their
Huh?
feathers ruffled. We're going to cover today's two biggest sports clowns of June 27th, 2024. That is our last segment. So make sure y'all either fast forward and watch that part because it's probably going to be the best part of the show. But stick around. You're going to want to hear that. So, anyways, NBA draft, lead the way, good sir.
All all right. So, you know, I don't, to me, was there really any surprises here? Um, I don't think so. What always gets me is the amount of, because I was just looking at how many foreign players we had, um, which I still think is it's a good and it's a bad thing, right? But I don't know a whole lot about Alex Sarr, but he is from Australia, right?
He's actually
You said
French. He played in
French,
Australia.
French.
So,
Yeah, how did that happen?
well, speaking of Australia, well, we're going to get into Bronny James later in the draft talk. We'll talk Australia a little bit there, but I think the story coming into this draft, and obviously Victor Wembanyama being the number one pick from France last year as well. France has come a long way in their basketball. They had four picks in the first round, I think, or I know it was three for sure. The fourth may have been the beginning of the second, but I think it was four in the first round. The world is catching up, and it's pretty impressive. Now, what you get from European players is defensive question marks. But I think the United States has got to kind of start looking at their basketball system. And as a coach for the last 15 years, I actually see it going that way eventually. It's going to take a
Hmm.
while, but I think the system as we know it, with high school athletics being the primary sports outlet, I think that's going to go away. I think it's going to start being privatized, supplemented by the major leagues, and you're going to start having I think your big time program football programs in college are going to start becoming supplemental subsidiaries from the NFL. And then I think you're going to have high school and programs like IMG or Oak Hill Academy, these real famous sports schools start becoming the land of, where all these best athletes go. And I think you'll still have high school athletics, but it's going to be second tier is what it's going to end up
Hmm.
being. But I think with the advent or the emergence of these players from across the world, especially Europe, and how they come along and how they play the game and how they're changing the game. You can go back to, you know, Petrovic in the early 90s. Then, really, the next big international guy was Dirk with the Mavericks and Steve Nash from Canada. I kind of consider Canada more U.S. basketball, but,
Well,
um,
yeah.
you know, and there's players that are international
Except they
players.
can't win in hockey, though. Canada can't win in hockey.
We're going to get to
We'll
that
talk
here in a
about that
minute.
later. Yes.
But it's the story of the international player right now and what
Mhm.
impact they're going to have. And I think ultimately, you know, the NBA, the major college programs, and high school programs, and kids learning how to play the game, going to have to start looking at themselves. And, instead of practicing once a week with your AAU team and playing 14 games on the weekend, which isn't healthy, maybe you start practicing. And Kobe had this with his daughter's AAU team, rest in peace, is they practice 4 or 5 times a week and would play once, maybe twice on the weekend. And
Mhm.
so that is the model. That is the healthy model. And I think the U.S. has got to start looking at it because we're starting to get, by evidence of this draft, a lot of more international players are coming and they're
Well,
really good.
what gets me is how many actually playing for the college. You might look at some of them and think, okay, he's from regular college, but then a lot of them you look at and they actually are foreign players. I think which one was I looking at here? Was it? Uh, no, not which one was it? It
But
was
while you're while
one.
you're looking, one of the most intriguing picks that I think that I'm interested to see how it turns out is the big man, Zach Edey, the dominant big man from Purdue. Had a great collegiate career, going to Memphis. I think that's a good spot for him. I think he can be brought along in that system. And there's not really any pressure on him to be a number one guy. Obviously, they have John Morant. Hopefully, he figures his stuff out. And you got some other young pieces there. Very young team. That's why they brought in Marcus Smart last year to try to provide some veteran leadership. But and obviously Klingon going to Portland from UConn, the 7'4", 7'5" guy. He's more athletic than Zach Edey. They're in a full rebuild out there in Portland, and I think he's going to have an impact first year, and I think he's going to have to work on his perimeter defense because he's going to be a 7-footer. He played drop coverage all the time at UConn. He's not going to be able to do that in the NBA. He's going to be put on an island, just like we saw in the playoffs. Rudy Gobert getting put in a blender by Luca and losing the game. So,
Mhm.
um, but that's the interesting part. So, did you find your name that you were looking for?
Um, Actually, I was kind of looking at some of the ones. I was definitely, Stefan Castle, the Spurs. I think that's actually a really good draft for them.
That is a good pick.
Pick, because they need that outside. Now, from everything I've read, and obviously I haven't watched a whole lot of Connecticut basketball, but um, they say he needs to really work on his outside shot. Um, but I think that's the type of player that they need. Um, there was a lot of hype this year, um, and they just it didn't really pan out. And I think they were missing a lot of pieces. It's not like the Mavericks, who I think are maybe one piece away. But I think he is definitely going to be someone.
Yeah,
Um,
I'd really like the Castle pairing him with Wimbyama. He's a long, rangy guy who can guard. He can play above the rim. He's
mhm.
a hard nosed guy. He knows how. He's been coached hard by Dan Hurley at UConn. Obviously, Pop is a hard coach on his players a lot of the time, and so I think that's a great pick. A great pick for San Antonio, 100%.
Yeah, I definitely think he is one. Um, the one I was looking at is Chicago. Modest Bucelis. Um, you know, he's coming out of course, he's in
He was
the
in the G
Ignite
League.
League or what? Yeah, but he's Lithuanian, and you wouldn't necessarily think that, um, just based on where he's coming from. Obviously, if you look at his last name first, I guess both his names. But here's another one, and it's who was this other one? Carrington, no.
Well, I'll tell
Uh,
you an interesting one, and we're going to get to the back half of the Lakers here in a second, their last pick. But Dalton Connect from Tennessee, I thought that was a huge pickup by LA. Um, a hard nosed kid from Tennessee, got a little swagger to him, isn't afraid. I think he fits in Los Angeles. I think that was a great pick by them.
really? You think so? He's from Fargo. He's from
I
Fargo, North Dakota, and he's
Yeah,
gonna go to L.A.
he went to Tennessee, and if you've seen him play, I know you don't watch much college basketball, but this kid has a he's the type of kid, and you'll know the type of kid I'm talking about, or the type
Mhm.
of guy I'm talking about is he's the type of dude when he's on your team you love him, but when he's not on your team you think he's an asshole.
He's an asshole.
So
Yes.
uh, see, he's that type of guy. Just from observation, watching them throughout the tournament and some of their games in the winter time, and so I really think that's a good pickup by the Lakers. Now the second half is they took Bronny, so Bronny
Hmm.
James is now a Laker.
Well, who didn't think that that was gonna happen, right?
Well, the interesting thing on that is Rich Paul, his agent, obviously LeBron's agent, was calling teams telling them not to take him. If you take him, he's going to Australia. That was the Australia tease earlier, and I thought that like what a douche move. Okay, I get you want this dream, blah blah blah. You play with your dad, I get that. Um, but to sit here and call teams and be like, "Don't take him," he's not. We've seen it in drafts, but I'm telling you,
It's
I would have
it's
taken Bronny and held him hostage.
my whole thing. But unfortunately Bronny's been brought up with his daddy, who's thinks that he and this all start and sometimes when it comes to LeBron and his bullshit, I'm just going to say it, that he brings with everything he wants to comment about, thinks he has a platform on crap when he just played freaking basketball. Like I talked about football players, the same thing is unfortunately you're going to put him he's going to be in that culture. And to me, it's why the Lakers can't win anything. And he's gonna go there, and they're not gonna win, in my mind. They're just not, and he's just gonna end up another. We've seen this before. I can't think of the one, and then they were with the Lakers, and I can't think of who it was before. Um,
Was the
but
first in the NBA is the first father son tandem playing at the same time.
well, playing at the same time. But I'm talking about some players who are juniors and things like that. Not juniors in college, obviously, but other basketball player great sons. I think it was Luke Walton was one of them. And even though I have a lot of respect for Bill Walton, I got to meet him personally a couple of times when I was in California. Great man, but it's there's so much. I wouldn't say it's pressure, but the fact that and it was hard for Luke Walton too. Um, who had promised but kind of fell off the radar and kind of never really lived up to the hype. And I just think that's going to happen with Bronny. And what kind of name is Bronny anyway? Bronny?
Well,
I get it.
I think that's
After LeBron.
well, I think he's LeBron James Jr. I do believe so. They call him Bronny
See,
as a nickname. Just like you go
Bronny.
Eddie. If I would have been William Edward Schedule the third, like no, y'all didn't know what to call me, even though you could have called me Trey because all I did in high school was shoot three. But
I'd call you pain in the ass. But yeah,
but
uh,
I
I just think it's not going to work out. That's just my opinion because I just think if what you're saying is true that they were calling other teams don't take him or he's going to do this, then that's crap. You
well,
know.
it's not me reporting it. I'm reading other people reporting it. It's been on ESPN and other outlets that are a lot more viable than me.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a douche move on their part, trying to hold the kid hot or trying to hold other teams hostage or whatnot. I would have taken him and held Bronny hostage because now I got the rights to him. Even if he wants to go somewhere else and play, I still have his rights. So LeBron, you want to go play in Australia with your kid? Go play in Australia. That makes the hard league. It makes it easier for us. Um, and I would have used that as a GM move to get something out of the Lakers or force their hand to do something there. I think that would have been a genius move. And ultimately, you talk about the pressure on Bronny and stuff like that. The the father son duo of good athletes and their kids. I think it depends on the level of the athlete. Michael Jordan's kid came out of college. There wasn't any fanfare for him. No one was all like, "Oh, we got to draft Jordan's kid." This is a kid who he I'm glad he's healthy. He had cardiac arrest last year in the fall. Comes back, plays, averages less than 5 points a game. I saw some dude try to make a highlight tape and going, "Y'all sleeping on Bronny." We're asleep because there's nothing going to wake us up with with Bronny James. So, um, it's a cool story. He's playing with his dad. I'm glad they got to realize that family dream. Cool. But what happens when they send Bronny to the G League? Or they're like, they cut him after LeBron retires. You know,
I just the reason I say I don't think it's going to work is I don't think LeBron can be objective. Say Bronny comes in, he's really struggling or whatever, he's still going to fight for his son to be on the floor. I mean, I still think coaching the Lakers right now is probably to me it's the worst job in the NBA. I
well,
mean,
speaking of that, we didn't even put that on our list. That happened while we were gone. JJ Redick. I think that was
uh,
stupid on his part and stupid on the Lakers' part.
so
Like,
yeah, but the coach doesn't matter there. To be honest, the coach does not matter there. He's just a person who stands on the sideline and says, "Good job, Brian. Good job. Good job. Okay, you ready to sit down? You want to sit down? Okay, you can sit down.
so,
But no, you don't want to? Okay, stay in the game." The why be the coach? It's like the old Jason Garrett. Good job, guys. Good job. Good job. Jerry, what you want to call now? Jerry? Jerry? I think it's 3rd and 1. You need to throw it long. Throw it long. All right, guys, we're going along. We're going along. Fourth down. And okay. All right. We didn't get it.
Well,
Good
the
job, guys.
the funny thing is when they were talking to Hurley, they said they wanted to build a culture and build because if you look at the teams that are winning, they have built the the monster teams or the what am I trying to say? The
And
super teams.
when was the last time that happened with them?
What do you mean?
When the Lakers were good?
Well, they won
When
the
was the last time?
championship in the bubble. Hashtag asterisks. But
Yeah.
um, you know they it's one of those things that just if he
Well,
was a better player, I would not hesitate at all. Like this isn't King Griffey Sr. and King Griffey Jr. Like it's not Del Curry and Seth Curry. It's you know I just
well,
I don't like
all
it,
right. We're
and I'm
beating it to death.
yeah I'm
So
nauseated. I'm
it's
nauseated talking about it.
yeah, we're going to go ahead and move on from the draft. Obviously, we can take some comments in the comment section as you guys are listening to it, and we can come back at it. But let's move on to, well, before we get out of the NBA, let's talk about the Bridges trade. As you know, there was talk about uh, him going to the Mavericks, but it's always all talk. But he ends up going to uh, the Knicks. So your thoughts on that, Mr. Casey?
So one hell of a trade by the Knicks, and they re-signed OG Anunoby. So they definitely have the firepower to compete with Boston because that's the team that they're putting together is to beat the Boston Celtics. Now they have the wings. Mikal Bridges is one of the best defenders in the game. He scored, I think, around 26, 27 a game last year with obviously a bad Brooklyn team, but he's capable of getting you 20 every night. He's long. He's linky. Uh, good offensive game, good defensive game. I think it's a hell of a pickup. I think that trade is fire. Honestly, like it is legitimate. It has put the New York Knicks, along with re-signing OG Anunoby, in true title contention. And they, we kind of teased and talked about are the foundation pieces for Boston to be a dynasty. Well, the Knicks said, "Hold my beer." And that's what I really see with this trade. Yes, did I hear the rumors he was going to go to the Dallas Mavericks? Of course, I thought he'd be great here. But you look at the trade that they had to make to get Mikal Bridges. There's no way in hell the Mavericks were going to get him. I think they gave him like 5 first-round picks, among others. So that's insane. Like great haul by the Brooklyn. Brooklyn is saying we're in, I think I heard that they're planning on like a 7 to 8 year rebuild, which takes you 8 years to rebuild. Talk about the process in Philadelphia. Um, they're putting that on steroids in Brooklyn. And so I really do like the trade for New York. Wish it would have been Dallas, but great move by the New York front office. And Lord knows you don't get to say that line very often. And so,
Nope.
uh, but Mikal Bridges, I'm interested to see what they do when the New York Knicks are healthy. I suspect they'll be fighting Boston for that number one seed next year for sure.
Yeah. Most definitely. So, all right. So moving on, we had someone win a championship. Uh,
Ring?
and,
There was a ring given out?
and it was the NHL that someone on these two pictures here called the winner, but someone won a cup for the first time in their franchise history. The Florida Panthers, who I'm just going to say I picked to win it all, did win it all. Now it took them 7. I'll give credit to the Oilers. The Oilers fought the good fight, took them to 7, and made it pretty much an epic fight to the end. But in the end, I just think it came down once again to goalie play. I always say it comes down to goalie play. It was 2-1. It wasn't a high scoring game. It wasn't a 3-4 or nothing like that. It was 2-1. And so I just think, congratulations, Florida, and to myself for calling it. And now the Panthers have their first Stanley Cup. And their coach, he's been in the league, I think it's 25 years, gets his first championship. How sweet it is, as to quote Emmett Smith, how sweet it is. Sweet in Florida.
You know what? The only problem I have with your entire monologue right there, you took all the hard work by the Florida Panthers, 30 years of a franchise struggling, and gave yourself credit and made it about you. Wow.
But if I hadn't picked them, it wouldn't have happened, right? It
Um,
wouldn't have happened, you know, because I had to get one right. I obviously screwed the pooch on the Mavericks because
you're
I
about
bought
you're
into
being as
that.
greasy right now as your forehead. All right. So
Easy now. It's not greasy at all.
I know
It's good.
it
So
actually is not shining very much today. I'm
I
impressed.
powdered it up for
I
our show.
figured you put on some makeup for the show.
So
But yes,
yeah. So
congratulations to Florida.
congratulations.
Congratulate that.
Great
But
job.
I mean, Oilers down 3-0 almost did what hadn't been done. I think you said on our last show since the 40s.
Since 1942.
Yeah, 42. So
Yeah.
during World War II, like
hmm
the what I was watching a documentary on this morning, the Battle of the Bulge. It hadn't been done since then. Oilers almost pulled it off, and I felt for Connor McDavid. I really did. I can tell you that last line, those last 4 minutes, I think they played almost 3 4 minutes straight. They were gassed. They didn't have nothing left in the tank, and they put it all out there. And I know, I would love to see Connor and that group get one. And it obviously would make me feel better having the Stars lose to the Stanley Cup champions. But I was also really impressed by Kachuk and his post game interview right after winning the Cup. So heartfelt, just saying, like, it's not a dream anymore. It's a reality. Like, I don't have the words. He wasn't posing and trying to say stuff that already had been said, like Jason Tatum was, trying to recreate the KG moment and the Kobe photo and copying Corey Seager and Kanye West in the post game stuff. So, complete genuine. I love what he did there. And congratulations to Flo Rida, the Panthers, and still never seen a Florida Panther in person. But
Yeah, and I do talk about the goalie in Game 7, but I tell you what, it was all about the Oilers in uh, the 3 games prior to that. Scoring 8 goals in Game 4, scoring 5 in the next 2, and 5 and 6. I mean, they were putting it on the Panthers. And I think everybody kind of going into Game 7 said if the Oilers keep this up, there's no way the Panthers are going to win. But luckily, the goalies were on in the last game, and most especially for the Panthers. But yeah, the Oilers, you got to give them credit. I mean, they just fought their asses off to get back in this, and they didn't just play. They were pretty dominant, especially in Game 4 and Game 6. They were dominant, 8-1. Seriously, in a hockey game, eight to
that's
one
insane.
in a Stanley Cup game.
Yeah,
You
8-1 is that's like Pee Wee hockey score. Like
yeah,
that's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. So it's like the U.S. playing Japan or
By,
something.
by the way,
So
the one consolation prize we can all take is the Oilers lady who flashed her boobies is got to deal with Playboy now. So uh, be on the lookout.
wait, maybe I should flash mine. Maybe
No,
they'll.
no, do not do that. We will be canceled immediately. So, uh,
All right. So moving on from once again, congratulations, Florida. There is some rumblings in the Cowboys that's been out on the internet and social media that McCarthy, I can't imagine why, is not happy with JJ. It's like, I don't know. I love him. He's a good guy. He's my guy. He's gonna be there. Well, when you going to sign him, Jerry? Well, we're working on that, but I got to find out if we got any money. I don't know if we have any money. Last time I said I was all in, we didn't have no money. So I'm just I'm gonna kind of get some popcorn. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Well, let me
So,
tell you what's going on. I told you this about 5 shows ago. McCarthy's on a 1 year deal.
uh-huh.
Zimmer's on a 1 year deal. Dak, CD, Micah, all on the last years of their deal. We're either going to win a Super Bowl or they're blowing it up. That's my call. And to my knowledge, to this very moment at 7:40 p.m. on June 27th, 2024, I believe Dak, CD, and Micah are still unsigned.
Hmm.
And
You know,
not even negotiating in a positive direction.
yeah, if it gets blown up, if you lose any one of those three, of course, Cowboys Nation will lose a damn mind. But my thing is, if they don't do something this year, um, I do believe, and I'm calling it today on June 27th, 2024. If they do not win the Super Bowl, Bill Belichick will be the coach of the Dallas Cowboys next year. Mark my word, Bill Belichick will be the coach of the Cowboys next year if they do not win.
So we didn't really talk about this segment in full before we went on it. That was going to be my suggestion is you have a coach here who's won 12 games in a row. Now, we broke down their schedule, considering they're going to be healthy, considering everyone is playing, no one's holding out. I have them going 12-5 again. And so, um, I do believe that they have the talent and the schedule works out in their favor because all their hard games are in the beginning of the year. But I think right now, Jerry Jones is looking at it and saying, if they don't win, we're blowing it up. We're going to see what Trey Lance has got, and we're not going to give him much around him. So we'll get rid of him. We'll draft a quarterback, and we're starting over, which is a crazy thing to say at a guy at his age. And so the fact that you haven't paid McCarthy, he's been the most successful coach record wise in Cowboys history to this point. Obviously, yes, you want more playoff success. I get it. But half the battle is getting to the playoffs. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's the baseline. If you get to the playoffs every year and giving yourself a chance, that's more than half the battle when you think about it in the NFL. So you have raised your expectations and your standards because with Jason Garrett, it was a 12-4 year, an 8-8 year, a 13-3 year, an 8-8 year. It was up and down. And McCarthy has established kind of that standard. I'm not going to say excellence, but a standard of above average to really good, looking for that final couple pieces. And the Cowboys haven't given them any extra pieces this year to try to fill in those
Mm-hmm.
gaps and put them over the top. I hate to say it, it's our team, but I think we're about to go into if they don't win a Super Bowl this year, and I don't know if they can do it with what they got right now. I think we're about to be into a Brooklyn Nets
So
7 to 8 year rebuild.
what do you think McCarthy's fed up with? It's that because that's what they said. It's just fed up, and I think it was a former staffer who said, you know,
Well,
that's what's going on.
at at the draft, like the pre-draft press conference they do every year, he was sitting there for like 20 minutes before he even said anything or Jerry Jones even acknowledged his existence. And so, like, I think he's fed up not being fully in control of his roster. I think he's fed up with, hey, this was the plan, but we're not sticking to the plan. I think he's fed up of the sideshow that is the Dallas Cowboys because he has put a good product on the field, despite Kellen Moore. Despite um, holes in the defense in certain places, they've been successful, and you haven't rewarded me for the job I've done. And I'm a lame duck coach. I got a lame duck defensive coordinator. I got lame duck players. And how are we supposed to be all in with you when you're not showing us you really are, and you're not investing in us? So how the hell are we going to invest back?
Because you need to listen to what I say and not what I do. Just listen to what I say. It's like a Jedi mind trick, right? It's listen to what I say. I'm all in. I'm all in. And then I don't do this. That's what happens to the Cowboys. I don't do a damn thing. And unfortunately for us Cowboy fans, it gets extremely frustrating
Hey, you can
because
you can polish a turd all you want; it still tastes like crap.
well, yeah, yeah, I agree. I've never tasted a turd, but I'll take your word for it.
I
So,
thought you
all
went.
right.
You have Chiefs initiation, and then you cross the equator. I thought you did stuff like that.
Yeah, we don't eat turds, dude. That's, land lover. All right. Um,
Don't
so
hate
we're
the player,
getting
hate
to
the game.
where we only got about 15 minutes. So now we're going to talk about sports clowns. And there's one clown I want to talk about, which I'll get to once you get to yours. It's this damn A&M freaking guy. Well, now he's a Longhorn who literally in 24 hours went from I'm all in. I love it. I'm all in. I'm an Aggie all the way. I'm gonna be here. I left everything to be an Aggie, and I'm in. And then 24 hours later, hook 'em, baby, hook 'em. Who the hell would ever trust this guy to be their coach and believe a damn word he says? You know, as much as the guys want Jim Schlossnagel, Schnagel. His attitude and his approach is basically like his last name, Schnagel. It's Jim Schlossnagel. You know, I said it. I put it on X. I said POS. That's what I get now. Yep, I wear the Aggie ring, so you got to take a little of that into account. But my whole thing is how do you teach or coach about integrity, loyalty, when within a 24-hour period you lied your damn ass off? Lied. You said, I moved my family. I'm going to be an Aggie. I want to be here. It's long term. I'm all about it. What? The Longhorns called? How much? Hey, welcome, baby. It's clown, sports clown. And if you listen to that man when he recruits you, you're a damn fool. You are a fool. That's my rant.
All right. So I mean, obviously, you know, we I don't have my ring yet, so but I do attend Texas A&M at the moment for my master's program. So I don't have the attachment that a lot of folks have just yet, but just from a coach's perspective, this was a douche move. This was a sports clown move. The fact that you went off on a reporter for asking that question, and then you go back and you you leave less than 20 hours later. You berated this dude. How dare you ask that question? Blah blah blah. We just lost the
Oh,
College
but
World Series.
but he apologized. He
Man,
said,
no one
"I'm
gives a
sorry."
crap about his apology. All right. He only apologized because of how much heat he took. If he wouldn't have catch any flag, he wouldn't have apologized to that. And here's the issue. The other issue I have is before he's leaving Texas A&M, he knows he's leaving to Texas. Some of his players have said he was recruiting them to go to Texas with him. That is horrible. That is no integrity. That is having no honor within yourself. And then I think one of their players came out and said, "I never had a positive interaction with the guy uh, at A&M," and so he's a doucheball, and he's going to doucheball.
Well, as you would say, he's a douche canoe.
Yes, he is a
Douche
douche canoe,
canoe.
and he's going to douche canoe you. All right, so like it's just one of those things. I don't like the move. Like if he would have handled that press conference difference, this would be a whole different thing. Okay, be a whole different thing. But the fact you came out, you said what you said to that reporter, and then you're trying to recruit the players before you leave. Don't tell me that that deal wasn't in place before the season was over. You do not make a move like that that isn't premeditated at less than a
No.
day from you don't sit here and change jobs in less than a day. Now, if it was me right now, and if I was a teacher and you offer me $8 million a year to go coach the Lakers, you're damn right I'm moving to Los Angeles to coach the Lakers because I made like 60 grand a year. That's whole different for me. But that's not what this guy levels on. He's on a different world.
Well,
He was already making money. He's already kicking UT's ass in baseball. And now he's going to go to the burnt orange. And so, and it's to the rival. And they're both in the
it,
SEC now.
the
So
thing that is, it wouldn't have been so bad if he didn't make the statements he did. And basically, I took the job at Texas A&M to never take another job again, and that hasn't changed my mind. That's after the World Series, and you know all the stuff he said after about after the World Series, about how committed he is, and I'm never going to take another job. That's what makes him a douche canoe. Because it would have been one thing. He said, "Well, we lost. I got to reassess and see if he had went about that route, he wouldn't be as hated." Well, guess what, though, Schlossernagel? Guess what? You're going to meet the Aggies this year, and I hope we kick the crap. Of course, I always hope that out of the Longhorns, and I hope I don't know where they're playing. I gotta look at the schedule, but if it's in A&M, I hope they boo the crap out of him. I will go to that game just to boo Shenango. So,
yes,
all right.
sports clown. For these segments, we need like a visual, like a clown thing. I just thought of that.
I don't have a clown. I got a peanut, but I don't have a clown.
All right. Well, yeah, that's not going to work. Um, so your sports clown, we kind of had that one in common, but my sports clown is I wake up this morning, beautiful day here in South Texas, and I hop on my phone after kissing my beautiful girlfriend good morning, and I go on Twitter and I see a troll on the Twitter or X, as folks would call it. And I was like, did you just wake up today and pop your head off your pillow and go, I'm going to be angry and I'm going to respond to this guy? And so, to give you the scenario why this person is a sports clown, I don't even know if she does sports, uh, whatever, but she, so I made a comment on Alex Morgan's post, who plays or did play for the U.S. women's national soccer team, who I used to follow religiously. Now, I'm not bringing in my views left or right here, but I didn't agree with what the U.S. women's soccer team was doing. All right. And so I stopped following them. That's a personal choice I made. It is what it is. But this lady starts going off on my response. And so I just respond with, hey, I think maybe I do. And she said, the reason I called her a troll was she went back to my post and posted like a couple things I posted months ago or weeks ago and was like, hey, you don't care about what just happens on the field, court, or pitch or whatever. practice what you preach or whatever. And I go, like, what are you talking about? Like, I was enthralled um, by a lot of this, by her, and you know, Twitter trolls. You don't go back and forth with them too much. You don't want to lose your sanity by any means. But what's funny is, so yeah, the simple response is I stopped following the U.S. women's national teams years ago when it stopped being about what happens on the pitch, and and then she decided to reply, um, you know, with yeah, you clearly are about what happens on the pitch or the field.
Yeah,
Stop,
are you
you're not good at
sure
this.
it's a female?
Yes, well, I mean, sorry if I assumed your gender, uh, Alyssa. Um, so, but she ended it and made it personal when she goes, "Stop, you're not good at this." And I was all like, "Well, more people are liking the post than hating the post, so maybe I'm not too bad at this." And then she wants to go, "Hey, look at your followers and my followers." She's got 50,000 followers. Cool. I got 500. I like quality over quantity personally. All right, I know almost every single one of my followers. Um, and so I just told her, you know, obviously, we see the world differently. That's okay, and bless your heart. Which,
Which we all know is a southern saying of when basically we just said the "fu" thing, but we said "bless your heart" instead of
yeah,
saying "fu." So yeah, I mean, people do this crap all the time. They get behind a keyboard and they think, uh, you know, they cause hate and discontent, so they get a little notoriety. So yeah, clown, 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 just like Nagel. Clowns, 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 all the clowns, and you know that's just quit clowning around, people.
yeah,
All right,
it's
so
one of those things. People, I swear, people pop their head off their pillow and go, "I'm gonna be upset today. I'm gonna be pissed off today."
well, that's true. It's like, hey world, what are we going to be offended over today?
And
Because
and,
we
and
got a world full of pansies out
if this woman and her wife saw me in public, they wouldn't say nothing to me. They wouldn't have
there.
the gonads to say anything to me if I was talking to someone about this. So, like, get over yourself. I'm happy we have different views. That's what makes life interesting. That's what gives it substance. If we all thought alike, there would be nothing interesting in this world. So I wish you the best of luck. Good luck out there, Alyssa. Um, and it is what it is. You know, hey, keep commenting on my post if you like. I mean, it's only going to expose me to your 50,000 followers, and probably a few of them are going to agree with me once in a while, and they're going to hop on mine. So I ain't mad at it. So, anyways, clown.
So we are at the end of the segment, and since we're talking about snowflakes, how do snowflakes communicate?
Oh God.
They use a flexionary. There you go. Ba-boom. Why was the snowflake always invited to parties? Because it brought the cool factor. All right, so there we go. We want to thank you for showing up and
You
listening to us.
did not bring the
You
cool
know,
factor.
yeah, those jokes are. I'm hilarious, hilarious, and the more high I get, the more hilarious I get. So,
Folks, please
all
tell him
right.
to stop in the comments. Just stop.
So well, we want to end the segment. We'll give them a few shout outs. I'm going to start with a shout out to Devlin Health Concepts here in Texas. We help out with mental health in the community. We have all sorts of programs. Go to devlincares.com. We have a really cool acute day program where we bring folks in and work on skills, and they get to be in groups and meet people and really share and develop some really great skills about just living a better life with whatever situation they're dealing with. So, shout out to my team, and check us out at devlincares.com if you need someone to talk to, or you have a loved one that needs someone to talk to, or just going through a tough time. And I'll throw it over to you to any shout outs you want to talk about.
Yeah, of course, the Tel Valhalla project. Unfortunately, I don't think our show made the cut to be a brand ambassador or be sponsored. So we're going to keep working towards that, but still a phenomenal organization. One of my favorites. Mission 22, of course. And Camp Hope. That tour is going to happen at the end of July, early August. So I'm starting to get closer to that happening. So, and also shout out to Odyssey. I had a couple interviews with them for one of their jobs. Got some great feedback from them, and I'm excited to where things may lead. And I'm wishing the guy who does get the job the best of luck. And I'm looking forward to hearing what they put together on that midday show with John, the legend Lopez, up there. And so shout out to Odyssey for taking the time out of their busy weeks and their schedule to interview a nobody like me. So,
All right.
So,
well, thank you for joining us. I am the original. He is the remix, and we will see you later.
Peace. Love y'all.